This is Tokyo, Japan, known as channel Global Inside, special edition sponsored by Memnoshin Japan. I'm Hiromi Yano. Thank you for joining us. In May 1948, the Jews living in the region called Palestine declared a state of Israel and fought a war against the Arab nations to establish their independence. This followed centuries of persecutions that culminated in the death of millions of Jews during World War II, Jewish Holocaust. European Jews have been migrating to Palestine for several decades, with promises never met by the European nations to give them a state of their own. The new state of Israel gave the Jews a nation, but unfortunately, this new nation was catastrophic to many people who have been living in the region for many generations, whom we call Palestinians. Out of fear, many Palestinians abandoned their homes and lands and evacuated to other places, causing a large exiled population that still exists today. Others were outright expelled by the new state. So to simplify a very complex situation with different versions of what happened, this is what we call Palestinian issue. It is a conflict that still exists between the people who created the new state in 1948 and the people who have been living in the region for generations. Despite many proposals for a separate Palestinian state, the support for that from the United Nations, the Palestinians still do not have their own country. Many of them live under Israeli military occupation. With some exceptions, most of the international community, including the Japanese government, support the idea that future state of Palestine will be established with its capital in East Jerusalem, living side by side peacefully with state of Israel. We appear to be a long way from achieving that goal, but this is more or less the common idea for solving the Israeli and Palestinian problem held by the international community. Although even the term international community is not completely clear and can start debates. In this reality that exists today, there are people on both sides who are not waiting for a treaty to establish peace. They are working each other to understand, empathize, and reconcile with other side. Today, we have two such women here, one Palestinian and one Israeli, to tell you their stories. They are members of the organization called the Parent Circle Families Forum. Welcome to Global Inside.
Thank you.
Who you are?
My name is Amal Abuaiash from Palestine. I'm 23 years old. I was born in Bethlehem City. Now I'm working for a Palestinian cellular communication company, and I'm an active member of Parent Circle Families Forum.
Welcome to Global Inside.
Thank you.
Tell me who you are.
I'm Yifat. I'm an Israeli. I live in Jerusalem and I'm a teacher in high school. Amal and I are both members of the Israeli-Palestinian Family Forum. So
what is Parent Circles? Tell me about your organization.
Well, we are both Israelis and Palestinians that paid the highest price for the violent ongoing conflict in our countries. All of us, members of the forum, have lost an immediate family member, but we did not lose our hope.
Is the organization funded by the government? I mean, Israeli government or both the Israeli and Palestinian government?
No, we do not receive any money from governments. We operate our activities with donations from all over the world.
Now, Amal, can you tell us your story?
Yes, I have lost 3 members of my family in the conflict between Palestine and Israel.
Okay.
I lost my grandfather before I was born, and I lost 2 uncles. The first was killed in 2002, and the second in 2003, both in the occupied Nablus.
Nablus, in Nablus, okay.
Yes. Uncle Kamal was killed in 2002 at the age of 20. A year or so earlier, he was working as a mechanic in auto repairs garage in Nablus. On his way home from garage, one day he was stopped by a group Israeli soldiers. They asked him for his ID and where he is coming from and where he is going. He told them he worked at a nearby garage and now heading home. One of other soldiers asked him, "What is the black in your hands? Are you making a bomb or an explosive build?"
They're really suspicious. Okay.
And Kamal answered them, "No, my hands are black because I'm doing car repairs."
Okay.
Then soldiers began to hit him with ends of their guns
Really?
in his hands and feet and throw him on the ground.
Okay.
Then they left him and went away.
Okay.
Kamal did not die, but he is seriously injured.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He decided to take revenge on these soldiers. He had some money, so he bought a weapon and went about searching for these soldiers to avenge them. But the soldiers has been replaced. And Kamal did not find them, and he wouldn't shoot any other soldiers.
He didn't. Okay. He didn't try to attack others.
No.
Just to. Okay.
Kamal carried the weapon for about a year, so he became wanted by Israeli soldiers. When they found them, they killed them. They killed him in 4th April 2002. After that, my uncle Taysir took the weapon that was for my uncle Kamal.
Okay.
And he killed by the same way, for the same reason, by the Israeli group soldiers.
But different, of course, different soldiers. Of course.
Yes, of course.
Yes, yeah.
The different.
Okay.
Those days were not easy for us. I was a child, but I remember all that painful details. My mother suffered a lot at that time, and I don't know how my grandmother bore this loss of their 2 sons.
Your family had a very, very difficult time then. I can see
Yes.
that. Okay, I'll ask Yifat to tell us your stories in the second part of this program. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. Global Insight Special Edition, sponsored by Memnosh Japan. Hiromi Yano, Knowledge Channel, Tokyo, Japan.
Amal, I feel you. You went through a lot. I doubt if I've gone through that much. And it must have been hard for you. Having heard your gut-wrenching story, and some people might get a lump in their throats trying to express their the feeling of loss, your immediate families. Having said that, why this issue called Israel-Palestine conflict has come up at this stage? Why? Partly because I call it hot potato. Everyone wants to eat the hot potato, juicy, and yet nobody dares to touch it, lest they get their fingers burned, particularly when it's straight out of a hot oven, because Jerusalem. Donald Trump tried to relocate their embassy to Jerusalem, calling it the center, capital of the Jews. That caused a lot of uproar, criticism here and there, spreading terror, fear, near and far. And come to think of it, why this particular issue has not been taken up in Japan? Why people are trying to avoid this touchy issue? And it is considered to be very important, vital for many a country. Why avoid? Let me give 3 reasons why. Number one, they don't know the issue. Number two, they know they shouldn't take part in it. Number three, maybe they don't know how to deal with it. They cannot come up with any ways or means of improving the situation because the situation has been around for so many years. Why now? People avoid it. That's why it's a hot potato. But with through the good offices of Memonoshin, Japan, headed by Yano-san, a close friend of mine, who both understands Israel and Palestine, and Amal Yifat. It's incredible combination of the two who are supposed to hate each other to the guts. They're coming here and spill out their guts. Wow. When the Donald Trump said this Jerusalem is the center of Israel, why? So that must have been instrumental in proposing the topic no one has ever dealt, the kudo, and you did a very good job. Okay, let me give you credit for what you've done, bringing together the different persons from represent different countries, different territories. Up here in Tokyo, the heart of Japan, who's been away from war for the period of about 73 years. That's amazing, isn't it? And it's totally inconceivable for these people to have a meeting up there, Israel or Palestine, only in Japan. So we have learned a lot from the depth of psychology, the feelings that you've suffered. And thank you for your enlightening us of the situation that it's still worsening over there, but it's perhaps we would like to give you a moment of healing through the practice called the healing debate. In Japanese language, kotomuke yawasu. Healing instead of hurting. Thank you again. Michihiro Matsumoto, known as Channel Tokyo, Japan.